The Kickstarter on this would either, well, it's going to hit the back plastics when they're on, so what I need to do is I'm going to fabricate a hinge that attaches here and then also to this part of the plastics in the bottom of the seat, and that way when I want to start the bike I'll be able to essentially hinge the seat back this way, kick it over, lay the seat back down, and we're good to go. But either way, let's go ahead and get the bracket put on the seat now. So I went ahead and temporarily just mounted up the seat. There's a few washers there. I got the plate under and the bracket on. So now what I'm going to do is just lay it on, make sure that things line up as they should, and then we'll get down to business with fabricating our hinge to bolt our seat onto there, so we can raise it up and lower it down so you can kick the bike over. As you can see, the little ridge on the seat sits in this bracket here. Now the thing is, if I have my hinge point on top of this, what happens is this will want to hinge right here and it'll just bring up in the tires. So what I need to do is I'm going to fabricate, or I essentially double this bracket, and that'll be the mounting point. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come off it further with steel, probably down to here-ish, 3 or 4 inches away. So from here back to here, and then at this point here, we'll have our hinge. That way, when we hinge it off, it'll hinge off properly and not bring up in the back tires. So let's have a go with that. Okay, so now that we've got the seat off again, let's do quick measurements. So we're essentially duplicating this piece here and this piece here. We're also going to do an extension piece here and then a hinge here. So that way all this will hinge back. We'll be able to get at our Kickstarter. I'll probably even set it back up to normal height then again too, so it'll ride up folded away like it normally should. I've just got it back here because I was testing the bike out before and didn't want it out in the way. So the lower piece here is 5 1/8 and roughly 1 3/4, 5 1/8 again, and we're looking this time at 1 1/8. So once again, our measurements, do you remember them? Let's see. 5 1/8 wide, 5 1/8 wide. So we can do that in a couple spots and just draw a line because we're doing 2 pieces that length. 5 1/8. Close enough. Our first one was the bigger one on the bottom, 1 3/4. One 3/4, and our next one was 1 1/8. So we'll go 1 1/8. 1 1/8. 1 1/8. I just fucked that up big time. Let's see. 1 1/8. There we go. That's better. 1 1/8. So there's our 2 pieces. So we're going to cut them out, hold them up in spot on the bike, and then make sure they fit all right, and then we'll make the longer piece that's going to go down the back where the pivot's going to be. Some people call this type of process templating, I guess. You're making templates out of a much easier material to work with. That way you can dry fit up everything, and then you know it's going to work out when you transfer it to metal. And then it's just the act of putting your metal together and you're good to go. So yeah, so this will sit together essentially like this. And then our further piece, I'm gonna have to hold this with my hand like a magician, will come off the back down this way. Either way, let's go see how this fits. So I went ahead and cut up the other pieces. This is the top piece. This is the original one we did here. This is the upper side of the hinge. So as you see, hinge point here. This will lift the seat up and away from the bike, giving us room to kick the bike over. So now what we'll do is we'll go back and lay this on the bike. Yeah, so the seat will mount onto this piece here. The seat assembly will mount here. And this piece will get bolted to the bike where the seat used to bolt onto. Yeah, as long as our angle back there isn't too extreme, we'll clear everything. That looks good to me. So one simple thing you can do when you're making cuts, you can see this line here, I'm going to be making a long straight cut. If I do that freehand, there's a chance I could get a bit wobbly, not make it exactly straight. So what I like to do is I'll take a piece of flat stock like this that has a nice factory flat edge, line it up on my line, and then I'll just go ahead and clamp that. And this way I'll be able to make a nice straight cut just by having my grinding wheel, my cutting wheel, follow the edge of this piece of bar. So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing on this other end. Get it clamped in place. Now we should be good to make a nice long straight cut there. To ensure that the bottom piece is going to mount right to the frame is going to match up exactly with the angle, what I've done is I'm just going to go ahead and lay like the bottom piece and the back piece, or the mid piece I'm calling it, right there. I'm just going to tape them in place. I'm going to hit with a couple tacks along the inside seam. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape that in place, cover the rest of the bike up, and then I'm going to hit that with a couple tacks. Okay, so a couple quick tacks on this, and then we should be good to start doing the long back pieces. So this is the idea I landed on. You see here, these two long pieces of small angle. So what I was able to do is I was able to get this to sit on the outside. So what happens now is when I put this piece, which will be the bottom piece, which will be mounted to the frame here, likely through these holes here. Once this is here in place, it's nice and solid, it doesn't move even like back and forth or anything because it's down around that. So now at this point I've got my two pieces done. I just want to attach my hinges. I should be good. So what we have on the go here, you see how I use the angle iron on this side as well. So the angle iron on the top piece now sits outside the ones on the bottom piece. So this will be mounted to the frame. This one will be mounted to the bottom of the seat. See, they fit together snug. Angle iron fits together. So now all I want to do is even up these ends on the grinding wheel, and then I'll attach my hinges to these somehow. I might just bend them and weld them to it. I might cut out slots in them, and we'll see how it goes that way. It's a bit of that sweet hinge action. It's actually pretty good. It's going to be robust enough to handle the plastics in the seat. I mean, like I said, it's only 10 pounds. I'm putting a bit of pressure on it. That's going to be wiggly a bit, but the only thing that matters is when this is down, it's going to be firm against that, and it'll be pinned to the frame up here using the mount for the front of the seat. So I guess all we have left to do now is drill some holes and get it mounted on both sides and test it out. So my thought is, because I can't put bolts here because it'll interfere when the hinge comes over and closes, what I'm going to want to do is from the bottom here, I'll put marks on the bottom of the plate, and essentially what I'll do is I'll attach posts there. So whether I drill down through, put pieces of threaded rod in and weld them to the top and grind it flush, something along those lines, so I can hold this on here. Once we get that done and working, then I can focus on mounting the actual seat assembly to the upper part of the hinge. So here are marks on the underside of the bottom part of the hinge. I'm going to go ahead and drill those out, make sure they line up, and then we'll go ahead and we'll put some threaded rod there. So usually when I drill through steel, what I'll do is I'll use a smaller bit first to start my hole, especially if they're maybe a little larger. So you can see I went ahead and center punched and drilled those. So now what I'll do is I'll mount up my bigger bit, and I usually go a size just slightly bigger than the stock that I'm using. That way I can get it in there and get weld down around to hold it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put a bit of tapping fluid on this and finish off these holes. So now we got that done, we can go and see how they line up on the frame. So we'll drop our mount point on and see things line up pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple pieces of this rod, get them welded in place, get this cleaned up, and we'll mount this on and see how it fits. So I went ahead and I set the depth that I want these to sit up into my bracket using the nuts, and now this will also help me keep these upright when I tack these into the hinge here. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with a couple quick tacks and check our alignment. So I've got the hinge mounted to the bike now. I've only got these on hand tight, like I can still turn them, and this thing is absolutely solid. So once those are cinched down, you know, with a wrench nice and tight, I don't think this is going to go anywhere. And once these beautiful little welds here are ground flat, then this will sit flat. So that's that part done. So I'm going to grind those flat, then we're going to look at the underside of the seat assembly and look at getting that mounted to this so you can test the system out. So similar to the threaded bar that we used here for mounting to the frame, I'm going to do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4 for mounting the seat assembly to this. So I'm going to go ahead and get those holes drilled and get some threaded bar tacked in. So now that I've got the posts in, I was able to mount it to the fender to which the seat is then mounted, and then I was also able to mount this to the bike here. So now we see it's nice and sturdy. Nice and sturdy, mounted here. A bit of wobble in the back of the thing. Back of the hinge, that's just because it's a small bit of angle. But the hinge is working really well. And once it's down, it'll be, you know, on the bracket up here, and this will be sat on the metal itself. So everything's gonna be nice and secure. So now that I've tested that it all fits well, I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick wipe down with some acetone, make sure it's clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some etching primer. And once that's complete and dry, we'll hit it with a couple coats of black paint, and we should be good to go. Looking good to me. That's probably going to be it for this one. Keep an eye on the subscription feed. In the next one, I've got a couple things left to do, so we're going to be getting this mounted on the bike, the seat and all that put together. We've got the front bracket for the seat to modify so it goes down around that section on the front or on the back of the tank. And then lastly, I'll be doing the custom intake that I have on it now. Needs to come off, get cleaned up, and get painted up. Well, until next time, take it easy.